Welcome to Wander Mode, a podcast that wanders through topics such as entrepreneurship, traveling, and mamahood. As a teacher turned entrepreneur and a mama to one, I am sharing my tips and tricks to maintain harmony in a multifaceted life. Let's wander. Welcome back, Wanderers. I am your host, Julie Thomas, and today's episode is all about soul sisters and the power of togetherness. Growing up in a household with two siblings, me being the oldest and the only girl, my concept of sisterhood took on a unique form. With a 2-year gap to the middle child and 6 years to the youngest, I grew up surrounded by boys. But honestly, that never really deterred me. I was the tree climbing, bike riding, hide and seek playing, and even G.I. Joe loving kind of girl. My sense of sisterhood did not form within my family. Instead, it found its roots in friendships that were cultivated at church. Church was where things often clicked effortlessly for me. These connections were mostly forged through shared spiritual experiences, and they also could have been formed because everybody is on their best behavior when they're at church. I mean, who isn't nice at church, right? Either way, these friendships became the heart of my childhood playdates and my outdoor adventures, movie nights, sleepovers, and more. But there was just one hitch. These girls belonged to different school districts than me. In other words, you could see me surrounded by friends, but that would have been outside of the 180 days or 1,080 hours that I spent at school every year. School in my youngest and most formative years was a different story regarding sisterhoods. I was the reserved, bookish, and yes, religious kid. I was the girl with a short haircut versus those long, lush locks swishing back and forth in a beautiful ponytail. I was the girl in saddle shoes that peaked in popularity in the 1950s, but I was wearing them in the 1980s. I did not blend in, and making friends did not come easy in that world. My closest friend at the time was a missionary kid who lived in Africa, and our friendship thrived through letters exchanged across the miles, and that friendship was truly a godsend for me. But the rest of my elementary school days saw me targeted by jokes. It saw me fading into the background in order to avoid attention. If you fast forward to middle school, those super tumultuous years, those were about me seeking my place. I did have a few friends by that time from both church and school. We navigated the minefield of mean girls and self-doubt together, but a pivotal moment happened for me when I met a kindred spirit, or a bosom friend, as Anne of Green Gables always talked about. Becky came into my life, and we bonded over a get-to-know-you activity in English class. We were both nerds. We had a penchant for books. We attended church. We participated in gymnastics. We both liked boys. We watched a lot of chick flicks, and you could always find us passing little notes during class or passing times that often revealed the last names of our crushes coupled with our first names because we were dreamily wishing of being someone's girlfriend, which never came to fruition. Those notes became our trademark. We shared lunchtime. We united against all of the middle school trials, and we grew together. But as our friendship gained momentum in early high school, life threw a very fast curveball at me. Becky's family moved to Wisconsin, and it absolutely shattered my world. It was my first sisterhood experience, and I was underprepared for how sisterhoods could evolve and also dissolve. As letters and calls tried to bridge the gap between Washington State and Wisconsin, time had other plans for my life. New sisterhoods started emerging as my life chapters turned, and our connection today really is limited to Facebook. Although our paths have diverged, the essence of that connection remains a beacon. It guides my expectations for the connections that I forge with other people. Her friendship will forever be the standard of the profound impact that a sisterhood can have on one's life. My sisterhood from high school, following the era of Becky, is a patchwork of friendships. It could maybe be called the sisterhood of the traveling pants chapter of my life. Some of these friendships do continue to thrive today, but way back when I house sat with these sisters, we would often rally for early morning tennis matches before school. We danced the night away at school dances. We would giggle all through the night at slumber parties. We worked side by side at the Auburn Family Fun Center, managing these prize booths, and then also dreading the cleaning of the ball pits. We braved choir tours together. We indulged in double fudge brownie ice cream, and we most certainly reveled in classic chick flicks like Runaway Bride, My Best Friend's Wedding, and Sleepless in Seattle. My friendship with these ladies made high school sort of a cocoon of transformation for me. It was a period of self-discovery, and I pushed my boundaries in an attempt to form lasting friendships. And as I stepped outside of my comfort zone in order to connect, I often reaped the rewards of opening myself up to new experiences and people. College life brought consistent shifts in friendships, really due to my many relocations over the course of those years. From Alaska to Montana, I did form connections, but really only one or two of them have withstood the test of time. My husband and I eventually settled in Minnesota post-college, and my company, again, similar to when I was younger, was predominantly male, and it was mostly my husband and his best friends. This time, though, instead of being that girl who was good at hanging with the guys, I really yearned for the deep connections that sisterhood can offer. After patiently and sometimes not so patiently waiting for a few years into my life in Minnesota, two incredible women entered my life and transformed my understanding of what sisterhood could be. Just as Meredith had her Christina in Grey's Anatomy, I have my Allie. Allie has been my person for over 13 years, and she embodies groundedness and wisdom. She radiates authenticity. She confidently embraces every facet of herself, from her dancing to her free-spirited sense of style. She has this genuine self-assuredness that reminds me of the importance of staying true to myself, regardless of the expectations that the world has. And funny enough, she found her way into my life through school. We joined forces to navigate the challenges of co-teaching, something that most teachers would not want to take on. We basked in the triumphs together, but we also lent one another a lot of strength during the low times. Teaching catalyzed our friendship, but we quickly discovered that we were kindred spirits. We have the type of connection in which one of us will dial the other's number only to find out that they were about to do the same. It is the type of friendship in which we sense that the other one needs support, even from miles away. We have weathered some tough conversations, especially as it comes to life's significant shifts, But we have successfully charted the course for how those changes will sort of ripple through our friendship. Our bond is unlike any other. It is the kind that lets me be unapologetically and entirely myself. And it really is that elusive unicorn friendship that everybody hopes to find. And I am so grateful that I have been able to find that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Alicia was an unexpected connection who ended up marrying my husband's best friend. My friendship with Alicia gradually transformed into a rock-solid friendship. Our journey actually started off a bit rocky, but we were quickly able to find this rare ability to communicate with honesty. We have been straight shooters with one another from the beginning, even when our shared messages are difficult to hear. Alicia has this unwavering determination that really challenges me to approach life with a similar drive. And she is a force to be reckoned with. Her motivation is unparalleled. She's an ultra runner, and she once tackled a 100-mile race, pausing only to breastfeed her baby. Talk about a real-life superhero, right? My bond with Alicia grew even stronger a little over 2 years ago when we both embarked on the journey of motherhood within a month of one another. We navigated the challenges of breastfeeding, sleepless nights, the heartache of leaving little ones in childcare, and she really became a rock of comfort and understanding in this big transition in my life. Today, 16 years after moving to Minnesota, I am part of a bigger sisterhood of extraordinary women. A sisterhood that is weaved from differences. A sisterhood that is fortified by life's challenges like death and divorce. It is nurtured through births and celebrations and successes. This sisterhood is rooted in acceptance, empowerment, shared wisdom, mutual growth, emotional support, and it really has become a living testament to the power of genuine female connections. Sisterhood is not a static concept. It is an evolving journey that mirrors the different phases of our lives. However, I have discovered a few core qualities shared by my most solid sisterhoods. First and foremost, there is unconditional acceptance. There is a sense of belonging and self-love that flourishes within a sisterhood that embraces every single member's true self without reservation. Authenticity is celebrated. It is a safe spot for sharing thoughts. It is a safe space for sharing feelings. It is a safe space for sharing experiences and not having judgment. Really, it is a refuge from a world that is constantly wanting us to fit a mold. The second thing that is shared by most of my solid sisterhoods is empowerment. So when sisterhoods share experiences, it sort of creates this supportive ecosystem. It is this environment that uplifts confidence and self-esteem. There are positive interactions that motivate the individuals within that group to chase their aspirations or perhaps embrace a particular passion. A healthy sisterhood might have some friendly competition, but in general, it is focused on building a supportive environment that encourages personal development. Finally, wisdom and insight. Just as my daughter learns from older kids in a Montessori-based preschool, a sisterhood of diverse perspectives and life experiences enriches everybody that's involved in the group. Sisters offer valuable guidance and advice that comes from life experience. And that shared wisdom can really help shape the decisions of others. So let me ask you some questions to provide an opportunity for some introspection and exploration. This could be whether you're already in a solid sisterhood or whether or not you're seeking to improve your current connections. If you are in a solid sisterhood, who was the first person that you felt a deep sense of sisterhood with? What made that connection special? Consider for a moment the idea of self-acceptance within your sisterhood. How has that unconditional acceptance of your friends influenced your relationship with yourself? In what ways do you believe sisterhood has evolved or changed over the different phases of your life? If you are seeking to improve your current connections because you're listening to this thinking, wow, that's not what my sisterhood looks like, or that's not what my sisterhood sounds like, ask yourself, what qualities do you value most in others? What are your expectations of a sisterhood? And how have these expectations evolved? And what have you learned about yourself as a result? Have you ever felt pressure to conform to certain expectations within a sisterhood or a group? And how did you navigate that? Is the idea of self-acceptance a concept that your group pushes? When I reflect on my unique journey, I am filled with so much gratitude for the bonds that were forged and the growth that I have experienced. Every single twist and turn of life, every friendship formed, and the lessons that I've learned along the way have all shaped me into the woman that I am today. The power of togetherness, the strength of soul sisters, those forces will propel you forward and enrich your life in immeasurable ways. So go out and seek a solid sisterhood. If you wandered to this point in the episode, thank you for listening to the Wander Mode podcast. Please leave a review and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram and Facebook at WanderModeCo. Reach me by email at julie@wandermode.co. Until next time, wander on.